Hey, what's up guys, Jaeky here. Today I'm going to be giving my 1 month review of the Pulsar X2. I made a review of this around a month ago and I've been using it for the past month, and I've switched back to my G Pro Superlight, and there's a couple glaring issues with the mouse and I'll go over all of them. I still think that the Pulsar X2 in terms of its shape and its clicks is superior to the G Pro Superlight, but there are a couple of concerning issues that stop me from using it currently. So let's go over all of them in this video. Okay, so like I said, when I first got it, it was a great mouse. The shape I still prefer over the G Pro Superlight. If I compare them side by side, the Pulsar X2 is definitely suited more for claw grippers, and if you are a claw gripper, this shape is definitely better for you. It's lighter, and the Pulsar uses the Kale switches, which I always prefer the feeling and sound of over Omron switches. So spec-wise and shape-wise, the Pulsar X2 is definitely still better than the Superlight, and when I was using it, I definitely felt like my aim was better than it is on the Superlight. But right now, there are a couple issues with the Pulsar X2 that just stop me from recommending it and stop me from using it. So it mainly has to do with a lot of quality control issues, and I am not the only person that is having these issues. If we actually look at the Amazon reviews, there are a lot of reviews talking about the bad quality control, a lot of people having double clicking issues, issues with the battery. So I'll go over the ones I have with my model. So for the first 1 or 2 weeks, it was perfectly fine. I thought I got a completely fine model and there were no quality control issues. But after around the second week, it started having a lot of different issues. The first of which being a mushy click. So my left click started getting mushy, and I am not the type of person that clicks super hard or smacks on their mouse super hard when I'm clicking. I click pretty light, and so I've never had a problem with any other mouse where my left click starts getting mushy. But I've noticed with the kill switches here, it probably has nothing to do with the actual kill switch, but the way the mouse is built, the left click started getting mushy. So now when I press down on it, it feels very different than my right click, which I don't use that often. My right click still feels pretty much brand new, but my left click has this sort of mushy feeling, a lot of post-travel, not that much pre-travel, but it just feels softer, and mushy, not as satisfying to click. And you can tell that it definitely doesn't feel right. Another problem that I have with the mouse right now is the scroll wheel, actually. So the scroll wheel, again, was working fine for the first 2 weeks, but then after week 2, I mainly scrolled down to jump, but also when I was scrolling Twitter, I would notice sometimes when I was scrolling down that the mouse would just all of a sudden scroll up by itself randomly, just out of nowhere. And so I thought I was going crazy, but I went over to a mouse tester website, and I have both mice plugged in right now. So you can see on this website, if I'm scrolling down, you can see I'm only scrolling down, and sometimes it will scroll up. So you can see right here when the top arrow lights up, that means mouse wheel up is being activated, but you can see I'm only scrolling down, and sometimes it will just activate the mouse wheel up randomly. So obviously this is really annoying when I'm scrolling any type of website, Twitter, whatever. If I'm scrolling down, sometimes it'll just jump up. But also if I'm playing a game like Counter-Strike where I have mouse wheel down bound to jump, I also have mouse wheel up bound to change my volume. And so when I'm scrolling down to bunny hop or just jump around, sometimes it'll change my volume. And so you can see if I do that with my Superlight, hold on. If I do that with my Superlight, it doesn't have this problem at all. You can see I'm scrolling down on my Superlight forever and it will never activate the mouse wheel up. So obviously that's a quality control problem. You can see with the Pulsar, when I'm scrolling down, it'll just sometimes randomly activate my mouse wheel up. So that's another big problem, and one of the problems that stopped me from using this mouse. Another one is going to be the battery life. And so I actually don't have the software installed right now for this because I uninstalled it since I stopped using it. But in the software, it will show you your battery life in the top right. And I've noticed that it is wildly inaccurate. It will tell me sometimes that I have 50% battery left, and then in the next hour, it will die. Plus, this mouse only lasts me about 2-3 days, and that's not even with constant use. I use it maybe 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours a day. It will only last me 3 days. I've noticed that that's with motion sync on, so I tried turning motion sync off because I read that that will increase the battery life, and it did by a little bit. So if you turn motion sync off, it will make the battery life last a little bit longer, but it is still nowhere near as good as my G Pro Superlight. I don't know what it is, but my G Pro Superlight lasts me sometimes up to 2 weeks easily. Even with me using it every day, it can last me up to 2 weeks. With the Pulsar, it never will last me a full week. So I will have to charge it at least like once or twice every single week, whereas with my G Pro Superlight, easily can last me up to 2 weeks. I don't really care that much about battery life, but it is annoying because also with the G Pro Superlight, when my battery's getting low and I only have a couple hours left on the G Pro Superlight, the LED on the top of the mouse will light up red. So I can just glance over at my mouse and know immediately that my battery's low. With the Pulsar, there's an LED spot, but it doesn't light up when your mouse gets low, or at least I haven't noticed it light up. All the times it's died, I've never seen the LED on the side of the mouse light up. Maybe it's supposed to, and I have a bad copy where it just doesn't light up. I've never seen the side LED light up when this mouse is about to die, which is a bummer because it's actually really useful. Like with the G Pro Superlight, when it's low, if you just touch it and wake it up and it's low on battery, it will actually be orange or red. So you can know immediately that your mouse is low and you have to plug it in soon. But with the Pulsar, it can just randomly die out of nowhere. So it doesn't even light up. You just play with it. You could be in the middle of a game and it will just die. So that's basically the main reasons I stopped using the Pulsar. I still think overall it's a great mouse. If it didn't have these quality control problems, it would definitely be an endgame mouse, and I would be 100% using it over the Superlight just because I like the shape of the Pulsar X2 that much more, and I also like the clicks that much more. I think the shape is top tier, but these quality control issues definitely stop me from using it. So if I were you, I would definitely recommend waiting and seeing if these issues get fixed in future batches. Right now, I still think there's quality control issues going on, so I would definitely stay away from buying the Pulsar X2 right now. But in the future, if these quality control issues get fixed, this is definitely a solid mouse to pick up. Again, like I said, this shape is definitely one of my top 3 shapes ever. I definitely prefer it over the Superlight, but just the quality control issues completely stopped me from using this mouse. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's my experience with the Pulsar X2 1 month in, and the reasons why I switched off it and am no longer using it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope this video helps you guys out, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.